China for semiconductor makers getting federal funds to build in the U.S. I'm Charlie Pelleton. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
All right, Charlie, thank you so much. I want to get back to our guest. We're talking, Jess and myself, with Kelly Richmond Pope, professor in the School of Accountancy at DePaul University, a forensic accountant, expert. She's done a TED Talk. Her new book, Fool Me Once, Scam Stories and Secrets from the $1 trillion Fraud Industry, still with us via Zoom in Chicago. You know, we've mentioned some different companies. We've talked about Theranos. We've mentioned Bernie Madoff, a lot of stuff going on. I have to say, Kelly, on a podcast you talked about accounting is the backbone of everything. There's always a money story. And I feel that way when we talk about business stories or just anything in the world. There's always a business aspect, a market aspect, a money aspect. So is fraud always about money?
Oh, that's a good question. I think all roads lead back to money. So if I had to say yes or no, I'm going to say yes. Fraud is about money.
Okay.
99.9% of the time.
Is it always, though, you know, you talk about the importance of accounting, and is it always, if we just look at the books of something in the financials, we're going to find, potentially that's where we can find something wrong?
Well, yes. And so, one, you're understanding your basic financial statements, income statement, balance sheet, statement of retained earnings, statement of cash flows. Understanding how they work together is very important. But also, reading the notes to the financial statements, which many people might think are the most boring aspects of the financial statements, really tells you the story behind the numbers. So you have to think about those numbers are just like the end of a set of behaviors. So if you read the note, this sort of helps put those numbers in context. So understanding accounting, I think, helps you ask really important questions. And you don't have to be a CPA. I think like an introductory accounting class can just give you some basic knowledge of understanding why would an executive want to overstate revenues in a certain period? Why would an executive want to understate expenses in a certain quarter?
Right.
Like why do those behaviors happen? And if you understand like the accounting equation and you understand revenue minus expenses equals net income, and it makes sense if you understand the difference between accrual accounting versus cash basis accounting. There's so much that makes sense. And I think it helps. I mean, I think it helps.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, you're not going to get an argument from us because we're so into data and understanding balance sheets. You know, in the previous segment, I kicked it off talking about a Bloomberg opinion column where our columnist Chris Hughes talks about KPMG, well-known auditor and accounting firm, you know, auditing Silicon Valley Bank's books for 30 years, and talked about long-term client relationships are a known risk to audit quality. And there is something about when you've got an auditor who's been with you for a long time, right, it's in their best interest to make sure that they kind of maintain that relationship. And you do wonder if things get too friendly and cozy. Is there something right to go wrong? Do you agree with something like that in that relationship?
So I think we have to break it down a little bit further because we're talking about a firm auditing a client. But what we're not realizing is there's a lot of turnover in those teams, and you're not talking about the exact same person or the same team doing the same thing for 30, 20 years. That's not really what we're saying. Now, is it good practice, best practice to have 3 to 5 year rotation? Sure. Is it less risky to have more rotation? You have new eyes sometimes bring better due diligence to the table. But I think that we are forgetting the fact that these are teams that are rotating out. We have new people that are coming in on these teams all the time. So I think we have to remember that aspect of the operational aspect of an audit team.
All right, and to be fair, I'm not saying anything went wrong or there was anything amiss.
Oh, sure. Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
It was just an opinion columnist. Go ahead, Jess. Come on back.
And Kelly, you made a point in the last segment when you were talking about the role of whistleblowers. What specific advice do you have for somebody who could potentially fall into that category in the future? Because it does seem like an extremely tough position to be in as far as risking your employment and what that could potentially mean for your future.
I think a couple things come to mind. I think first you have to think about your role in whatever the transaction or the scenario that you are reporting about. What was your role in it? What is your plan B? So can you exit this company? Can you find another job easily? What kind of evidence do you have to support whatever claim? And what kind of internal support do you have to support whatever claim you are about to make? But I think assessing your role in the transaction is very important because your credibility is going to be questioned. I think understanding your tenure in that, whatever that organization is very important. And realize that you probably won't have a lot of supporters, but it's going to be a tough road. But a lot of people have fought the good fight and won, but it will be a tough road. And operative word being fight. I'm using that on purpose.
I wanted to switch gears and point to something that you had in your book talking about your red flag list. So you talk about how never trusting anyone who doesn't like dogs, or talking about anybody who doesn't agree Whitney Houston is the greatest singer of all time.
Is she not? Is she not?
No, I definitely agree. Tell us why you made this list and basically just the whole point of that as far as the motivation behind it.
You know, as silly as it may sound, they are red flags that really alert you to something. And that alerting you to something is what makes you dig a little deeper. For example, if you have been working professionally for 20 years and you don't have a LinkedIn profile or a picture on LinkedIn, it's suspicious. I'm not saying it's fraudulent, but it's suspicious. If you still have mail directed to your parents' house and you are a working professional, it's suspicious. Again, not saying that it's fraudulent, but suspicious. If you cannot say thank you or please, it's suspicious, right? You know, thinking about if you still, and some people this may be a little bit more controversial, but if you still have a Hotmail account, that's a little suspicious, right? Like, yeah. I mean, who doesn't have a Gmail account these days? So it makes you think about cyber fraud. I mean, there are things that you just shouldn't just brush under the table or under the rug, but it's suspicious.
It's just those things that we all make us, you know, and it makes us feel uncomfortable that we've got to kind of keep on our radar. Kelly, we've got to run, but really appreciate checking in with you. Kelly Richmond-Pope at DePaul University. Her book, it is out today. Fool Me Once, Scam Stories and Secrets from the $1 Trillion Fraud Industry. Do you want to mention a headline crossing the Bloomberg terminal involving First Republic? Wall Street leaders and U.S. officials discussing an intervention at First Republic Bank. They are exploring the possibility of government backing to encourage a deal that would shore up the lender. This is according to people with knowledge of the situation. The group has floated a variety of measures to make the company more attractive to potential investors or a buyer, part of an effort to ensure there isn't another potential U.S. bank failure. You are listening to Bloomberg Radio. Join Brian Curtis and Doug Krisner at 6 p.m. Wall Street time for Bloomberg Daybreak in Asia. Tonight's guests include Layla Pence, president of Pence Wealth Management. That's Daybreak Asia tonight at 6 on Bloomberg Radio.
Now, your 3-day weather forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
Fair weather will continue for tonight. Low temperature in the 40s, midtown 30s in the suburbs, though. And mostly cloudy with a chance of late day showers on Wednesday. Still a mild day, though, near 60. Chance of showers at night breezy and around 50. Some showers scattered around Thursday, low to mid-60s. And Friday, maybe a shower or two. High temperature, 55. This is Gary Best with your 3-day weather forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
Tomorrow, the Fed decides.
We have not made any decision about the March meeting.
Inflation pressures suggest the Fed will keep raising rates. But will banking turmoil cause them to pause?
We're debating whether they're going to go nothing or 25.
Full coverage on a special edition of Bloomberg Surveillance.
There's very little consensus when you listen to the economists.
The Fed rate decision and Powell press conference.
They always said, we're going to hike until something breaks. Well, aren't we there?
Tomorrow, starting at 1:30 on Bloomberg 1130 and Bloomberg Television.
Is your firm growing as fast as it should? Commonwealth Financial Network can help you accelerate your growth by tapping into intellectual capital, targeted marketing strategies, and tailored development programs. Everything you need to grow your practice your way. Welcome to your advisor advantage. Welcome to Commonwealth. To learn more, visit commonwealth.com. Commonwealth Financial Network. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
At Mucinex, we don't believe in cold and flu season. We only believe in comeback season, which starts with 12-hour relief. Just one dose of Mucinex DM provides 12 hours of relief for cough and chest congestion day or night. That's 3 times longer than those 4-hour cough liquids. So say goodbye to cold and flu season and hello to comeback season with Mucinex DM. Nothing lasts longer among over-the-counter cold and cough medicine. Get relief that lasts with Mucinex DM. Use as directed.
Returning to Doha in May, the Qatar Economic Forum, powered by Bloomberg, is leading the charge for resilient global growth in a post-pandemic world. Join voices who are spotlighting solutions to some of our most pressing economic challenges and leading the conversations to put consumers and technology at the forefront. Hear from business titans, policymakers, emerging voices, and cultural influencers, May 23rd through 25th, as they prepare for the decades of innovation still to come. Visit QatarEconomicForum.com to learn more.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com. And get ready for the workday.
Now, your company news headlines on Bloomberg Radio. From Bloomberg World Headquarters, I'm Charlie Pellet. Sources tell Bloomberg Wall Street leaders and government officials discussing an intervention at First Republic Bank are exploring the possibility of government backing to encourage a deal that would shore up the lender. Today we had First Republic shares rally by 29.5%. After the close of trading, Nike reported robust quarterly sales that beat Wall Street estimates as the sportswear brand worked down its excess inventory, but profitability missed estimates. After hours, Nike is down 1.8%. GameStop has swung to a surprise profit in the fourth quarter. After hours, the stock up 47%. Adobe has unveiled new image-generating artificial intelligence tools. And with that story, here's Bloomberg's Tom Busby.
Charlie, it addresses a key concern facing such technology. Dubbed Firefly, the tool creates images and text art based on user text prompts, drawing from Adobe's portfolio of stock media and freely licensed images. Now, the company says it'll be made available in programs such as Photoshop, typically used by professionals